Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit for rounds 8 and 9 of the Scottish Formula Ford Championship. Later in today's programme, we're going to have a little look at the Fiestas as well. But first up, as usual, are the Formula Fords and some pretty much perfect conditions for these guys. It's a little bit windy, but in qualifying, the man who has been pretty much on pole position and winning races this season non-stop, Neil McLennan, lining up again on pole position, and he's looking to potentially seal this championship this weekend if things go to plan. But the man who can stop him is Jamie Thorburn, second place. You can see Jamie's just getting ready to get in the car, and you see how much you get knocked around in these cars. Elbow pad on there to try to protect himself, and he's going to try to take his first win from Neil. I'll hand it to Richard, and he'll take us through the first Formula Ford race of the day.
Thanks very much, Joe. It is Neil McLennan on pole position once again. Jamie Thorburn alongside row 2, Sebastian Melrose and Matthew Chisholm. Then it's Matthew Cowley and Neil Broom. Row 4, David Thorburn and Stephen Barlow. Ivan Mares and David Hurry on the 5th row. Row 6, Ross Howe and Fraser Gray. That completes our grid for round 9 of the 2016 Championship. So Neil McLennan starts on pole position once again. Staggered grid. We talk about rows, but it is one by one staggered grid. And McLennan makes a great start from pole position. Jamie Thorburn in second. Very good start indeed by Sebastian Melrose, who is in third. Matthew Chisholm in fourth place. So no daring overtakes off the line, and everybody really starting well. Here's the view back from Matthew Cowley. So good weather here for single-seater racing at Knockhill, and I'm going to dispute what Joe said. I'm pretty sure that Neil McLennan can't tie up the championship today. There are 26 points on offer per race. We're only just past the halfway point of the season. This is round 9. There are 15 races. So we've got another 5 races after this weekend. So I think really Neil McLennan could win it if Jamie Thorburn has big problems and doesn't finish either race, but we haven't seen anything alluding to that over the course of the season so far. Here's the view from Matthew Cowley then, having a look at the man that leads the Classics Championship, Matthew Chisholm, the man from Perth. And Chisholm, who joined the championship back in 2011 and always pretty much performs better than you would expect in one of the older cars, and you can see that Chisholm doing that job again, 4th position at the moment. And Matthew Cowley, who joined around this time last year, I think this is probably going to complete the first year of racing for Matthew Cowley, although I think it was the meeting after, September meeting last year, that he joined us. And you can see having a terrific race at the moment, and side by side with David Thorburn, the Glaswegian, on the outside, and you saw how much momentum David carried out of the hairpin. He gets the wheels in line, powers his way up the straight, and a good race between those two. Side by side, Thorburn is in blue. We've got Neil Broom, second in the Classics class, immediately behind them and getting involved in the mix, and Thorburn goes through. Here's the view from Matthew Cowley looking back to Neil Broom. Broom, incidentally, on 82 points in the Classics Championship. Matthew Chisholm on 158, and Neil Broom's had 2 retirements this year, which have eaten into his points tally a fair bit. Matthew Chisholm, great move there by Matthew Cowley to go back past David Thorburn, and Cowley racing a Van Diemen, David Thorburn in the 2015 built Ray, and there is the Swift, the lone Swift chassis of Neil Broom. We see so much one make racing these days. It's great to be reminded about the roots of Formula Ford, and this is very much what Formula Ford was about in the day. Predominantly, of course, Ray chassis up here in Scotland, but a mixture on circuit today with Ivan Mares in the Classic Mondial. I mentioned Swift, we've got Van Diemen as well, so there is a mix of chassis. And in terms of qualifying, it was Ray 1, 2, 3 with Matthew Chisholm's older 1992 Van Diemen taking 4th place ahead of the 2013 Van Diemen of Matthew Cowley. So a very good mix of chassis in Formula Ford. Formula Ford, of course, itself migrated into F4, the F4 British Championship this year, which uses the Ford EcoBoost engine and also using slicks and wings. But this category still very much part of the ladder, and absolutely no reason why a driver couldn't start racing the Formula 4 Championship here in Scotland, or indeed in the UK, and then moving on to F4 or the F3 Championship as well. All still very, very relevant formula, as well as being a terrific national or club championship as well. And Thorburn goes off and on the dirt, recovers pretty well, but he's now a fair way behind Neil Broom. So David Thorburn's got some work to do after that moment off. Through goes Seb Melrose, running in third. Fourth position is still Matthew Chisholm, and there is David Thorburn in the 70 still going. As you can see, Matthew Cowley starting to close down on Matthew Chisholm. So great onboard shot. We've got a camera looking forward, as you can see, as well as the one looking back up and over the brow. And Matthew Cowley chasing hard. The man from Stalybridge has been pretty much a regular in fourth place. He's had 2 fifth positions, but all the other finishes have been in fourth place, and he's looking for that at the moment, so almost wants to get back to his regular position. But Matthew Chisholm holding sway over him at the moment. Now, we've mentioned the overall championship. Joe mentioned that Neil McLennan leads from Jamie Thorburn. The absent Jordan Gronkowski is in third place, and I think Jordan will drop down behind a few drivers this weekend, which is a great shame. We look forward to hopefully seeing him back as Matthew Cowley dives down the inside. Textbook move at the hairpin for Matthew Cowley in 71, goes down the inside, and Matthew Chisholm, what a wonderful shot that is. Chisholm looks to the inside, then goes to the outside line, just exploring all the options that are available to him, coming up the hill, and now he'll have to think about Duffer's Dip. Maybe if he can get close enough, and if there's a gap, look for the inside line into Scotsman Corner, where they're heading down to now, just out of Leslie's into Scotsman. Couldn't really tell from that whether it was particularly defensive from Matthew Cowley, but he is up into fourth place and starts to put a couple of lengths between himself and Matthew Chisholm, who still leads the classic class. You've got 3 Class B cars out in this race, because we've got Ivor Mares as well as Neil Broom. So 3 different cars, 3 different chassis represented in the classic class. Now, the other thing I was going to start talking about was the Newcomers Championship, which is led by Jamie Thorburn by 51 points from Ross Howe. And really, we're looking at 130 points being the gap between any of the classes coming out of this weekend in order to sew up a championship. But I'm not sure if we're going to see a championship sewn up. But here's a man who's edging towards doing so in the next meeting, or maybe the one after that, because we've got 3 races in September. And this is Neil McLennan, who is looking to convert a 4th pole position out of 5 meetings into an 8th win. He's on for a 7th fastest lap. Great drive by David Thorburn, who's managed to wrestle 6th position away from Neil Broom there. So a good recovery from David Thorburn. But here is the race leader, Neil McLennan, who is going to make it 8 wins, and very much in the tradition of most of our former champions that we've had in Scottish Formula Ford. A very impressive run of victories for Neil McLennan. Jamie Thorburn will take 2nd place from Sebastian Melrose, who's coming up the hill now. And then a run to the flag, side by side. It's Matthew Cowley who just outguns Matthew Chisholm into 4th position. Great finish between those two. So McLennan win and fastest lap from Thorburn, Jamie Thorburn. Then it was Melrose, Cowley, Chisholm, David Thorburn, Neil Broom, Stephen Barlow, Ross Howe, David Hurry next from Fraser Gray, and Ivor Mares in 12th.
Neil, well done, yet another win. I'm constantly talking to you, having won yet another race. This season's just turning into domination, and the championship's looking even more likely now.
Yeah, another win, absolutely delighted. Championship wise now we've got a good lead in points now, so absolutely delighted. But no, the car came back today. Engine got rebuilt, so run it in yesterday and new tyres this morning, so no, everything's been absolutely superb, so can't thank the team enough.
Still hungry to win? You don't really need the points to be winning. 2nds and 3rds could do this championship for you now.
Yeah, I'm still there. really do want to win every race I'm doing. So, no, we're there to win. So, give it our best.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Jamie, a second place. It's always a great result to be on the podium as second place, but I can start to see the little bit of frustration creeping in here. We want to see a win.
Yes, we've been second for pretty much the whole year now, and Neil keeps on disappearing off in the distance in each race, so getting a bit bored of it. We're going to try everything we possibly can for race 2 to try to get in front of him at least, or at least give him a hard time. But
is it the overall lap time, or is it his consistency, or where's the gap coming from?
He's got a few tenths on us on overall lap time, and he's so consistent. We kind of lose out over a long distance race sort of thing, because we kind of lose a few tenths here and there every lap. But yeah, if we can get consistent and find another couple of tenths, then there's no reason why we can't win by the end of the year.
Still a great result. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Seb, consistent podium finisher now, looking like you belong here. Well done.
Thanks a lot. It does feel good being on this step. I just want, now that I'm a bit, selfish, I want to be on the next step. But, I guess that's the whole experience of it.
Had an accident yesterday, not your fault really, a lot of damage to the car yesterday, which you didn't need, but a great way to bounce back and repay the team.
Yeah, definitely. GBR done a cracking job getting the car back to 100%. I did spin yesterday, which caused an accident, so I guess part of it.
Yeah, I think your punishment was a little bit harsh.
Yeah, my knees are a bit, damaged, but it happens. But no, a really good weekend, and I'd like to introduce some new sponsors: JH Civil Engineering and Claim Easy. Thanks for sponsoring me for today's race.
Scottish Formula Ford race number 2, and on pole position is Neil McLennan. Mathematically he can win the championship in this race, but it would take a non-finish from Jamie, and Jamie's not planning on having a non-finish here. He is looking still for his first win, which is very, very close. I'll hand it to Richard and he'll take us through the action.
Thanks, Joe. Grid is, of course, based on the finishing positions for race 1, so it's Neil McLennan and Jamie Thorburn from Sebastian Melrose and Matthew Cowley, then Matthew Chisholm and David Thorburn, Neil Broom and Stephen Barlow, head of Ross Howe and David Hurry, Fraser Gray and Ivor Mayers complete our 12-car grid. Everybody ready? Just look at the yellow Mondial of Ivor Mayers towards the back of the field. Lights on. Out we go, and this is round 10 of the 2016 championship, and not a great start at all by the championship leader, and in fact he's going to be down to third, or is he? Up front is Jamie Thorburn. Are we going to see a win for Jamie Thorburn? Early doors for sure. Neil McLennan in second, very definitely caught napping there from pole position, and we got a race on if nothing else, so McLennan has got work to do. This is going to be very interesting indeed. McLennan chasing Jamie Thorburn, the championship gap out to 65 points. There are 25 points for a win, 1 point for fastest lap, so even at the moment it's still not a 2-race cushion for the championship leader, and McLennan very quickly on the case. Matthew Cowley is challenging for third, and I think going back through into the lead. No, not quite. It was side by side for lead position, and Jamie Thorburn still got it. Neil McLennan is all over him. You just get the feeling that McLennan's kicking himself for that start, because he's very urgent here. Look at him all over the back of Jamie Thorburn, through Leslie's into Scotsman corner. Thorburn goes a little bit defensive. McLennan, of course, can take the wider line under no pressure from behind. Sebastian Melrose is in third place. Melrose fourth in the championship, incidentally, now. And I was talking earlier on about Jordan Gronkowski, of course, would be losing points. We'll come back to the point standings in a moment when things calm down a little bit, if indeed they do calm down. And this is Matthew Cowley. He's in fourth place in black and yellow, but look at this, side by side for the lead, and McLennan trying to go around the outside, lock up from Thorburn into the hairpin. Now what can McLennan do? Can he look up the inside? He points the car at the inside line, he's found the space, he's getting the run up the hill, and Neil McLennan's challenging for the lead. Look how close they get in these open wheel cars. That is what Formula Ford is all about, and Neil McLennan has got his nose in front and back into the lead. That was a fine opening couple of laps from these youngsters. Very good racing from the pair of them. Lesser drivers would have taken each other out there, but these guys know what it is to race in open wheelers cleanly. But look how it's bringing Sebastian Melrose into the mix as well. Jamie Thorburn is down to second, but that was a great fight between the two. So Neil McLennan restores the status quo. He is back in front. Jamie Thorburn second. Is the gap going to develop back to third place once again with Sebastian Melrose in red is third? Then Matthew Cowley, a little bit of a gap back uncharacteristically. Lock up again from Jamie Thorburn, who wants to try and dive down the inside. He wants the lead back. He enjoyed being out front for sure. Up the hill they go. So McLennan looking for yet another win. And remember, all the time Thorburn's finishing, McLennan's only taking 5 points. Oh, and you can see McLennan very wild down into Duff. There's only 5 points per race. So after this meeting, 130 points available from the 5 remaining races. And that includes the extra point for fastest lap that each race carries as well. And as things have calmed down, I can tell you that Neil McLennan now on 227 points, Thorburn 65 down on 162. Third place now on 122 points is Matthew Cowley. So Matthew Cowley up into, may finish fourth a lot, but he's up into third in the championship. Then it's Sebastian Melrose on 116, followed by Jordan Gronkowski on 111, and then Matthew Chisholm on 100 points. Separate point scoring for the newcomers class. They do score the overall points as well, but they have a separate points table for newcomers and indeed the classic class as well. And Matthew Chisholm it is that continues to lead the classic class as we ride on board again with Matthew Cowley, fourth position, and hunting that first podium. So we'll see whether Matthew could just break this run of fourth places that he's had, but very good point scoring from the Stalybridge racer. Cowley looks up the inside line. This is coming up into Clark Curve, a fair old climb. He's got through! So Matthew Cowley is into third place, and Sebastian Melrose being whittled off the podium down in fourth position. Well, this is turning out to be an absolute cracker of a Formula Ford race. Cowley up into third, and Sebastian Melrose might have been thinking about trying to close in on the two leaders, but at the moment he's just got to think about getting that third place back. And as you can see, Matthew Cowley went right tight up to the grass on the way up the hill, but here comes Melrose, who had a very good run indeed and gets it back. Superb stuff from Melrose, loses third, grabs it back from Matthew Cowley. Again, all done cleanly, and a lot of other open wheeled single seater formulae could learn from the way these youngsters are racing. Superb stuff from the pair of them. Shouldn't speak too soon, because obviously each race here in the championship 12 laps in duration, but so far exemplary stuff. Great shot there of the Forth Bridge in the background, which is one of the sights you can see here from Knockhill, one of the most picturesque circuits in the world, in the UK, let alone the world. It really is a wonderful place to come and watch your racing. And Matthew Cowley back round the outside, and is he going to get the run? He kicked up a little bit of dirt, but you can see these two drivers and cars are very evenly matched. Now this time Sebastian Melrose has the inside line and holds on to third place. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that these guys are quick, but the fact that they're battling with each other, compromising racing lines, and they're losing out to Neil McLennan and Jamie Thorburn, who are first and second respectively. Sun trying to break through the gaps in the clouds here, and Matthew Cowley still tries to give chase. Cowley, the top non-Ray in this race, the top non-Ray chassis, as we said in race one, racing in the Van Diemen and looking to consolidate third position in the championship here, Matthew Cowley. The gap will go out, by my reckoning, another 6 points in this race, because Neil McLennan is again setting fastest laps. Third place calms down a little bit. Matthew Chisholm fifth in the championship, following those guys up the hill. Sorry, Chisholm sixth in the championship, will go fifth. I'm getting ahead of myself on the maths. The rest of the field climbing up the hill. Neil Broom still dicing again with David Thorburn, as they did in race number one. There's David Hurry in 27. David qualifying down in 10th position and finishing 10th position in race number one. But Neil McLennan very well on his way to take another win, a 9th win from 10 races, extending the championship lead here potentially set the fastest lap on lap 7 of the race, so he's on for the fastest lap bonus points as well. This is going to extend the championship lead to 71 points, very nearly 3 races. So we've got 3 races next time, so we may well see Neil McLennan crowned as champion. As look at Matthew Cowley, Matthew Chisholm right behind him, and Cowley was looking for that 3rd position again. Here though is Neil McLennan, who takes another win, extends the championship lead. Jamie Thorburn is 2nd, but it's a 3-way fight for 3rd place, and who's going to take it as they come up the hill? We see that it's the red car, and that means it's Sebastian Melrose who just takes it from Matthew Cowley. Fine battle for 3rd place right the way through the race. 5th position goes to Matthew Chisholm from David Thorburn, and Neil Broom. Stephen Barlow is in 8th place from David Hurry. Here's the result. Neil McLennan wins again from Jamie Thorburn, Sebastian Melrose and Matthew Cowley. Matthew Chisholm is the top Class B runner, then David Thorburn, Neil Broom 2nd in Class B, Steve Barlow from Ross Howe, David Hurry, Fraser Gray 11th and Ivor Mears in 12th.
Neil, another win, but making it difficult for yourself there by sleeping at the start.
Don't know what happened at the start, but just didn't go when the lights went out, and then when I did go I had too much revs, so too much wheel spin, which made Jamie get by. But no, I had a good battle with Jamie for the first couple of laps, but got by Jamie and then just put the head down and went again, but just tried to be so consistent, but just tried not to make that mistake happen again. So no, really good weekend, and can't thank the team enough and all my sponsors, so really good weekend and taking home some good points.
I saw Jamie coming in on the brakes. I didn't think he was going to get it stopped a couple of times, but he did, and by the time he managed to get it turned, you were already on the cutback.
Yeah, I thought myself when I seen him on the brakes coming straight past me on the brakes again, I thought, oh no, is this stopping? But no, fair play to him, he got it to stop and he made it tough to pass him, but really good race.
Well done, Neil. This championship surely isn't far away.
Hopefully not, no. Hopefully. Thank you very much.
Jamie, well done, another 2nd place, but it's not for the lack of trying. Some of those moves at the hairpin had me looking the opposite direction. I didn't think you were going to get stopped.
Yeah, it was pretty close on a few occasions. Managed to lock up, I think, everything on the lap that Neil got past, and that pushed me a little bit wide. He managed to sneak up the inside on the way to Duffus, and then stuck with him for a few laps, but ultimately made a few mistakes. He broke the toe and then disappeared off.
It's what you've got to do though when you know someone, if you give them half a lap to settle that they've got the pace to go, you've got to try to rattle their cage, and that's what you were doing, and you were doing it well. You just couldn't get back in time.
Yeah, I sat behind him for a lap and he made a few mistakes, and that kind of let me close up again, and then I made a few mistakes myself, and then it was kind of game over after that. But in a race there's nothing between us, so next time maybe.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Seb, another trophy, another 3rd place, a good battle there, some great wheel-to-wheel action up the start, finish straight, had me looking the other direction. Great racing. Yeah,
it was a good race. I didn't really want it to be like that. I just sort of wanted to go up with the top 3 and sort of hold my position there, but I was given a race, and I hope the spectators liked it, because I didn't.
It was really good to the hairpin, too wide. I thought you were quite fair. There was a couple of opportunities you had to run some people into the gravel, but you didn't. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, you know, he was fair to me, so it's only fair if I'm fair back, but there was a few moves that I think we were just both fighting for a position, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Well done.
Thanks a lot.